and the brain, and how news channels, for example, like, they say they emphasize banners and keywords that attack your fear senses.
And just to add to that, it's not just the placement of it all. The neurobiology of it all. It's also news channels will they'll make a narrative and they'll just make it look like facts because they speak in a very professional way and everybody's used to think, hey, it's a news, it's right.
Yeah.
But they're selling every news channel is selling a narrative. Especially here in America, man, where the news channels are also politically divided in half.
No, they have to, because especially now when their viewership, i.e., in other words, which is nothing but their revenue, because more viewers, more revenue, with their viewers declining, they have to make everything they present more enticing, so more people come.
And to add to that, they also have to in the United States, there's two very defined ideologies, and in order to vote, you basically have to align with one of those, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So in the same way, news channels, they're also appealing to a certain demographic. So naturally, they're gonna align to whoever the demographic is, and it also ties into political, to add another subject to it, because man, you're not really getting the facts. You're not getting the whole picture. You're getting two strokes of it. And that too in a very opinionated way.
A highly opinionated way.
Extremely opinionated.
Yeah, dude. If I remember learning this a while ago, but what happens is the way they successfully target, the demographics, what you were talking about, and how they successfully convey the fear that I was talking about before to make it more enticing, is because of a part of your brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is in layman's terms, we can divide the brain into three parts, okay? There's like these terms are completely incorrect, but the idea is sound. So we have the innermost part, that's called the inner core. Okay, this is the part of the brain that's responsible for your breathing, your stuff that you subconsciously, you don't, like a heart beating, like things you don't think about, it still happens, and if it doesn't happen, you're dead.
Vital operations.
Yeah, stuff like that, like breathing, your heart pumping,
that kind of
stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the inner core. And you have no conscious, of let's say minimal, absolutely minimal influence on these mechanisms. Outside that, outside the inner core, the next layer is, I remember the word, but I forgot it. It's still a side note is the inner core. From the inner core is the oldest part of the brain, and each new layer is more recent in human species terms. So that's still a million years, but you get the idea. The inner core is the oldest, and on top of that we have the second oldest, and this part of the brain is responsible for your emotions. So it's still a mechanism by which you survive, and it's pretty vital because, for example, when you have when say there's a lion or any predator that's gonna kill you, you need to tell, your whole body needs to be told what is happening such that it can react appropriately, which in that case would be to run.
Right.
And in order to do that, it needs to signal to all the muscles to immediately be aware and be it'll be like turning into sports mode in a car. And in this example, the part of the brain which is the middle part, which I just mentioned, inside that, the part of the brain that's responsible for being attentive to danger is the amygdala. And so you could, in other words, you could consider the amygdala as the danger detector. So, and the danger detector is more prone, 10 times more prone. The numbers again are wrong, but the point is sound. Is 10 times more likely to be activated than the opposite part, which is responsible for like listening to good news. So bad news, to like connect it back to what we're talking about, bad news or anything that evokes danger or fear is 10 times more likely to be noticed by us, by any animal which operates in the same mechanism, than good news. And the news channels, they know this. So that's why all the news is always more often than not is always negative. It's because they attack the amygdala, which is much more likely to get our attention. And that's why, well, they do that. They keep on spreading bad news, even though like there's
a lot of good news.
There's a lot of good news, exactly. There's a lot of good news, but it's not good for their business.
No, yeah, I want to add, to make my uneducated opinion on that. I've read a little bit about neural marketing and all that, which is basically what you're talking about. It's just more of a
neural marketing.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like the social science version of what the science behind what you're speaking about.
It's like the psychology behind marketing.
More like appealing to the brain, but you can think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically.
It's just a different word for the same thing.
Yeah, it's like part of marketing school.
Yeah.
That's how I know about it.
Yeah.
My girlfriend.
No, there is a lot of psychology.
Yeah. And man, it's crazy. You think it will not be true, but it is true. Even in small proportions, you can see it. You know what I mean?
What?
This appealing to your most
your
basic.
primal sense. Oh yeah. No, 110%. Good. And on top of which, going back to the layers of the brain, so we have the inner core, then the one that I just described, the emotional one. On top of that is the neocortex. That's the newest part of the brain, and that is responsible for your rational decision making. That's what differentiates us from everything else, and that part you're most conscious of, and therefore you can control. But the more primal part, majority of us, we have very minimal control over it. It just happens, and even if like you don't want to, it's like how, I'm sure this has happened to you, and tell me if it has. I would put money that it has. So you open your phone, right?
Right.
And you go to social media, and you do your thing, and you shut your phone, you put it down. Next second you take it up and open the same app.
That happened to me before. Yes.
Because that's the same thing, because it attacks your primal sense, which is, but in this case it's dopamine. It's attacking dopamine, because dopamine is the
feel good.
The feel good chemical, yeah. And every time you open it and you see shit, you're getting like doses of dopamine, and your brain knows that. And even if like you know that you just saw it, you will still do it because you have no control. See it again. You have no control over it. Like there's nothing you can do other than there is obviously something you can do, but it's
there's self-control, but that feeling will still be there.
Yeah.
I want.
It's a long process to get over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, the psychology, because this is the same stuff that they use in, like you said, rightfully, in marketing.
Yeah. Neural marketing.
It's all the same thing. It's heavily, because today especially, it's. Have you seen like in landing pages where they have the timer?
Yeah.
Same thing, because it gives the idea of urgency.
Yeah.
And that's another one. And then they have this. There is reviews. That's social proof. That builds more trust. So that's another one. And there's so many more, but I don't remember right now. But
dude, it's funny.